He has to introduce himself to Canadians, has to make a good first impression, and kind of put together a shotgun platform for the Conservatives in case Justin Trudeau pulls the plug on his own government, triggering an election, which I still think is the most likely scenario, that if there's going to be a fall election, it will be because Mr. Trudeau is going to call it, because he thinks he can win, and win big by spending big. According to John Iveson, for example, in the Post this morning, how about another $100 billion? What's another $100 billion? Yeah, another $100 billion Trudeau spending blitz. And I note the dirty word that the Liberals are tossing around at every opportunity now to go after the Conservatives. Austerity. Oh, the Conservatives, they want austerity, austerity, austerity. And it's this idea in the Liberal mind that anything but this current level of spending, $400 billion budget deficit, and more borrowing and spending promised, that anything short of that extraordinary figure would be tantamount to austerity. You know, there was a time, about 5 years ago, I believe, when Mr. Trudeau promised that he would balance a budget. It would happen all by itself, but he promised it would happen all by itself somehow, some way. Was that austerity?
Nobody can balance budget.
Anyway, Aaron O'Toole is actually, he's been around the federal political scene for many years. He's not a rookie, but he's all shiny and brand new. He's kind of like the new kid on the block. Aaron O'Toole is actually younger than Justin Trudeau. Someone pointed that out to me yesterday. Aaron O'Toole is 47 years old, born in January of 73. Trudeau's 48. He was born in December of 71. On Christmas Day. He was born on Christmas Day. Of course he was. Of course he was. And Jagmeet Singh is the pup. He's only 41. He was born in January of 79. Trudeau's actually the old fogey. No, But Aaron O'Toole has been the leader of the Conservative Party for less than 2 weeks. And as I was preparing for the program this morning, this struck me as, I don't know, I guess it's just curious, I suppose. Justin Trudeau's been doing this virtual cross-country tour, a Zoom tour, and he's been doing lots of media interviews. Not with me, but I don't blame him. But he did 4 media interviews yesterday, and he did 3 the day before yesterday. And yet today, there's almost nothing in the media. Like he had nothing worthwhile to say. Nothing to report on anyway. One brief story about his decision along with Sophie. They have decided they're sending their kids back to school. And that's really the only story that comes out of, the seven media interviews. In the meantime, compare that to Aaron O'Toole. Aaron O'Toole is the subject of, let me just say it, glowing coverage where you wouldn't really expect glowing coverage, and that's in the Globe and Mail. Traditionally a paper that is, let's face it, very friendly to the Liberal Party. But not today. The John Ibbotson column in the Globe this morning puts the new Conservative leader in a very positive light. Yeah, it notes some shortcomings, but to me, it's coverage that Stephen Harper or Andrew Scheer, they could never in their wildest dreams ever think of getting this kind of coverage from the Globe and Mail. And at the same time, the newspaper of record for the Laurentian elite in its editorial this morning just rips into the Prime Minister. Like, it rips into him about his decision to prorogue Parliament. Calling it cynical, calling it undemocratic, calling it a ploy, and it's all of that and then some. Ladies and gentlemen, This is not the way it is supposed to be. And if I was a Liberal, I would be worried. And I would be worried about the polls this week. We had Angus Reid yesterday. It's a tie. 35-35. Abacus data this morning. It's a tie. Statistically, it's a tie. 33 for the Liberals, 31 for the Conservatives, and the what we call the favorables. For Aaron O'Toole, way up. Way up. Positive impression. He's making a good first impression. Meantime, there's Trudeau's Serb-driven double-digit lead. It's disappeared. It has disappeared, and it has disappeared where it really matters, and that's in Ontario and Quebec. Liberals tied with the Bloc in Quebec, neck and neck. And now, just 2 points ahead of the Conservatives in Ontario. So it's basically a tie with the Conservatives in Ontario. I bet all of this is keeping more than a few Liberals awake at night now. According to this is very interesting. According to the Abacus poll this morning, Liberal support peaked in the third week of June. And it's been falling like a stone ever since. In fact, in the chart that Abacus has provided to the media, when you look at it, the date on the chart is the 20th of June. The 20th of June. That's when the Liberals peaked at 40% in the polls, which is supposed to be the magic number, right, for a majority government. 40%. You hit 40%, you're all but assured of majority government. 5 days later, on June 25th, that was when Mr. Trudeau announced that the We charity would administer the student grant program. And Liberal support has been dropping ever since, and now it's at 33% nationwide. All of that political capital that Mr. Trudeau built up by spending big, blowing apart by the We charity scandal. And it's O'Toole with all the momentum. So I want to get your take this morning on his thinking, his ideas, what some of his policies might be, what he's putting out there. Right now, he's a big believer in growing the Conservative Party, what he calls the Big Blue Tent. For example, let's say someday, maybe someday soon, if it is Prime Minister O'Toole leading a strong, stable majority Conservative government, Mr. O'Toole says his Conservative government would take 10 years to balance the budget. 10 years. What do you think of that? Mr. O'Toole says he is in favor of much more immigration through family reunification. What do you think of that? He's opposed to a carbon tax. He's pro-pipeline, would repeal the anti-oil tanker bill that was passed by the Liberals. He would repeal the Liberals' latest environmental review bill. They hate those bills in the West. He says he thinks something needs to be done about climate change. But he says the Liberals are just obsessed with all things green, and that he's not willing to sacrifice other wealth-creating industries like oil and gas. So if you are so inclined, we can get into all of that this morning during our Talk Back Hour. I think we should also talk about Doug Ford's back-to-school plan again, the Ford plan. And specifically this idea that, classes are being merged, collapsed, if you will. Because fewer students are actually going to school. Their parents have opted instead for online learning. See, when all of this first started, I was under the impression, and I think a lot of people were under this impression, that's why the Ford government wasn't all that concerned about cutting class sizes, because, well, X number of students are going to be learning from home anyway. So class sizes are going to be lower anyway. But now the plan is to merge classes. And even the public broadcaster is reporting this morning that some teachers are being declared surplus, don't need them. So I'd love to get into that with you. Does that make any sense? We'll have some MPPs on the program later this morning, Queen's Park Week in Review, and I have a special treat for you later this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, some say one too many, the leader of Canada's Green Party. Yes, the one and only Elizabeth May on the show in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll talk about this Trudeau pledge to build back green. It's a Friday free for all Friday before the Labor Day long weekend on the Rob Snow Show on Rogers TV and 1310 News. Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter makes it fast and easy. We talked to COO Dylan Miskowitz, who needed to hire a director of coffee for his company, Cafe Altura. We would look through lots of applications for people who were not qualified. It definitely fell in. ZipRecruiter's powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.ca/save. We're very impressed with how quickly we had quality candidates apply through ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is a powerful tool in our hiring process. See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ziprecruiter.ca/save. That's ziprecruiter.ca/save. ziprecruiter.ca/save. We get it. Many of us are now working where we live. And when you're home 24/7, you can't afford the little things like that noisy fridge or the dishwasher that leaves white residue on your glasses. Appliance Canada can help. We offer top national brands like Eleanor, Sub-Zero, Mila, Fisher & Paykel, Signature Kitchen Series, and more. Our factory-trained consultants, competitive pricing will make your choice easy. Looking for inspiration? Visit our showrooms to see renovation ideas come to life. Appliance Canada. For your home. For your life. At Edward Jones, we talk about moments that matter with our clients. These are key moments in your financial future that we put we're here for you. Want to talk about your investment portfolio? We're ready to help and can provide you with a second opinion. We have 56 Edward Jones financial advisors right here in the Ottawa area. Visit edwardjones.ca/radio. Edward Jones. It's time for investing to feel individual. The 1310 breaking news and important discussion. Breaking news this morning from City Hall. And there are all kinds of angles to this thing that look frustrating at the parties. Listen here for when news happens. Happening now, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is at Rideau this morning. 1310's Jason White is here with more. Catch up when you can at OttawaMatters.com. One-stop shopping for local news. We're Ottawa's home for news and talk. The union in Gatineau could declare a strike. I absolutely love your program. 1310 News. Traffic, tangles, tie-ups, closures, construction, collisions, mishaps, fender benders, lights out, and detours on. If it's in your way, we'll get you through it. 1310 News has traffic experts who will guide you through the city on your way to work and on your way home. Every 10 minutes on the ones. If it's on the road, it's on your radio. Only on News Talk 1310 News. Be the first to know. Breaking news as soon as it happens. 1310 News. You're listening to a repeat broadcast on 1310 News. The world is changing, so keep up with Rob. The Rob Snow Show returns on 1310 News and Rogers TV. Friday before the long weekend, I thought we'd get an update on how things are going for our local farmers. And joining me this morning is Michael Obey from Rudders Elevators in Chesterville. Good morning, Michael. Welcome back to 1310 News.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, yeah.
How's business?
That's good, yeah, no, it's good. Things kind of turned around with a dry summer in certain parts, further east of Ottawa, and they kind of got adequate rains at the right time, but anything south, it hit hard. I think we only got 8 mils of rain in 6 weeks in certain areas. So it was hard on the corn crop.
Okay. But has it recovered now?
Corn has recovered, yes, quite a bit. Not to be a bumper crop in certain areas, especially where the drought was stricken. But the beans is really the one that's going to tell the tale this year. I don't know how they pulled through that drought way better than corn, and the intensity of the light during the summer being so warm and the long days, and the beans we're looking at we're anticipating quite the crop.
For soybeans?
Yes.
For soybeans.
And just while I think it's been 2 weeks, like a nice rally in the market, there's going to be probably a good cash inflow for farmers on the bean side of things.
And that's a big cash crop
That's a big cash crop.
in Eastern Ontario.
Yeah. You can find demand is good also for exports. Maybe not as good as in the States. I think that's what's fueling the market is the strong demand to Asia. And that's kind of what's stimulating this spike in the market.
So all in all, because the last time I did kind of a focus on agriculture, I was talking to Peter Reuter, a local dairy farmer, and he was saying it's dry, I need rain. But things have improved markedly, it sounds, since then.
Markedly, and when the timely rains came along, like during flowering for the soybeans, it's usually end of July, August, we just don't have that timely rain. And even for the dairy farmers, the second cut came non-existent. But now the rains are coming, they're really filling the gap of the necessary gap that we need just to get through the season.
Okay, so even that is improving too.
Oh yes,
Yeah, because the second cut of hay, as I understand it, was barely there.
right. A lot of running around, but not a lot of hay.
Yeah, that's good. So, typically, what is happening on an Eastern Ontario farm here on the Friday before Labor Day? What are farmers doing?
Getting ready for bean harvest. There's no frost in sight, so I think it's going to maybe be a little longer delayed harvest, and everything's so lush. But just preparation for that. And then on the dairy side, guys are going to start their corn silage, and it's just the fall breakdown. We just finished wheat harvest, which was not that wheat harvest was was not one to talk about. It was the yields weren't there. Quality was there, but there's also a few other quality factors that were missing because it was just so dry.
Okay. And as far as getting markets for these cash crops,
Yeah.
It's going okay despite all the.
Soybean market's been great. Corn market's a little trickier there with some local imports that kind of threw the market, the demand side off on old crop corn. But as far as new crop, it's starting to structure itself.
Okay. Do you have your ear to the ground, so to speak, on how livestock is doing, beef, that kind of thing? Or
the hardest thing with beef this year is there's not enough hay. The cost of hay is going to really throw a loop in the profitability on beef this year. People who are self-sufficient will pull through, but those who have to buy and purchase feed, such as hay or silage, that's going to be a tough one this year.
And what are you hearing from our farmers about the issue with labor and the seasonal workers that are sometimes imported to help on the farm? In the end, how did that turn out? Was it bad or?
Oh, some of my friends and colleagues that are in the vegetable or the fruit and vegetable market, they were able to get probably 70%.
Okay.
Of the labor force they needed. Other industries who rely on foreign labor did not get what they needed, so they're having a tougher time. The economy slowed down. A lot of ventures are not up and running because of the lack of foreign laborers.
Okay. In terms of, say, government assistance programs, whether that's Ontario government assistance programs or federal government assistance programs, do you think that has the government adequately been there for the agriculture sector, Michael? What's your opinion on that?
Not specifically, and not compared to the states. The states, they received so many subsidies that it just allowed them to be just that much more profitable. Here it was more a blanket subsidy. I think it was 40,000 payable in 2 years or 3 years, interest free, and then it allowed us that 10,000 that we had to pay back 75%. But that's the only real program that we had as far as agriculture.
Wow. Okay.
But our market still continued throughout COVID, and I think that was still one of the healthier industries to be in.
That's good. That's good news. So, say between now and, I don't know, the end of October, what needs to happen from a weather point of view?
Continue on with these 20-degree days,
Yeah.
cooler nights, and Should be able to start combining in about 3.5 weeks with soybeans. But it's been, we received quite a bit of rain there lately, so that's something to keep an eye on. That makes harvesting very difficult.
Okay. Not too much rain.
Not too much rain, but but we're glad it turned around.
Right. If we could have weather like this every day for the next month and a half, things would be pretty good.
It'd be pretty good.
I think everyone would agree with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Michael, it's always such a great pleasure to have your perspective, and just, God bless the farmers for everything that they've been doing through all of this. Thank you so much. Yeah. From Rutter's Elevators in Chesterville, that's Michael Obey. Pierre Moore, Pork News Watch, coming up right after the 9:30 news here on the Rob Snow Show on Rogers TV and 1310 News.
Every hour, we receive more new information about the coronavirus. What are the facts? What's fiction? Now more than ever, check OttawaMatters.com. We'll break down what you need to know, the information to keep you and your family safe. Because at OttawaMatters.com, facts matter. When it matters to you, trust the stories that are written by the people who know your city, including the team you trust at 1310 News. Any time of day, click on OttawaMatters.com.
Sometimes you don't realize how much something was bothering you
Until it's gone.
and then you breathe a big sigh of relief. That's exactly how you're going to feel.
After we work our magic at your house.
1-800-GOT-JUNK makes you feel happier in your home,
Cleaner
stronger,
and more relaxed.
like you just stepped out of a hot shower.
And are ready for anything.
Make your home a happy home.
By calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
You can't imagine how much better you're going to feel when all that junk is gone. You don't have to lift a finger.
That's not true.
What?
They need to lift their pointing finger.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Make your home